Good morning. Welcome to Infantry-Mindset, where we don't make excuses, we just do it. Hope everyone's having a great morning. It's a beautiful Sunday. Proud to be alive. Really focused on learning more about this Trump investigation with the attempted assassination. Just doing more research, kind of looking into things. I've already said my opinion about a couple of things, just in general, how I feel about the situation. Everything's changing faster. More information is coming out. I think we're more united than ever, just as a country. It doesn't have to be politics. Just as a country, we understand something's not right. Today, I came across some information from Fox talking about Congress not really trusting the FBI after doing their own due diligence and more research on the attempted assassination. So I thought this was really interesting. Wanted to watch it with you all, give my reactions. For those that don't know, I'm new to YouTube, probably about 11 videos in. Infantry mindset. What is infantry mindset? It's a mentality that you're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Former infantry guy, transitioned a couple years ago, trying to make my way in the civilian world. Really didn't talk a lot for a very long time, and starting to just really get my thoughts out there, connect with everyone, get to know your opinions. I feel really good about where I'm going. If you want to follow me on this journey, I would encourage you to like, subscribe. I guarantee a year from now, videos will be a lot better. Right now, really raw, just kind of turning on the camera, giving my thoughts. With that being said, I don't want to talk too much. If you want to go back and listen to some of my videos, I encourage you, watch them, leave a comment, let me know how I can get better. But today I want to get into this subject, so let's see what we got here.
Josh Hawley, he actually traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania. He met with local officials to see firsthand the building and the sniper, the one they scaled, trying to assassinate President Trump. Senator Hawley joins us now. Senator, my understanding is it hardly was a pitch roof. I could look at it and tell you, as a guy that fell off a roof 3 stories, it's not a pitch roof. Number one. Number two, if they knew it was.
I think that is huge because when we were initially talking about this and we heard reports, and I went in and started looking at some of the other bystanders just talking about how they saw the sniper, and I was under the impression that the sniper was low crawling up a pitched roof, and the reason why it was very hard to identify what they were talking about was because the angle from where security, Secret Service, everyone was kind of looking out, there was something that was blocking. Maybe like it was a gable that he was kind of climbing up. I wasn't really sure, but knowing that it wasn't a pitch roof, it is a little bit more frustrating. This is very interesting. Let's get into it.
Was a threat and they didn't want their agents on it. I could live with that. Why weren't there sniper eyes on it? Why weren't there agents surrounding the perimeter? Why did they keep telling us it's outside the perimeter? 130 yards is not outside the perimeter. The perimeter would be defined as any distance that any harm can be brought to a primary, in this case, Donald Trump, that you're protecting.
Okay, so there's standard SOPs for what a perimeter is when it comes to guarding an official. Sounds like what Hannity's saying is that it is the distance that I just like that I almost forgot, but it sounds like he's saying the distance from which anyone can be, any official or presidential candidate, I guess I would say asset, can be seen, which puts it more in context. I think that when everyone's talking about a perimeter now, they're really discussing the area in which you have to go through metal detectors to get in. So I think that's the difference in what he's discussing versus what other people are saying for perimeter. But when we looked at this aerial map from like a macro view, it was like 4 buildings. It wasn't like there was a lot of a lot of different things that they had to watch out for. I still don't understand why drones weren't used. That frustrates me so much. The fact that we didn't use drones and they're so cheap, that's very frustrating. But let's get into this. Let's see what he has to say.
So, and why are they blaming local law enforcement? That's not their job.
Well, I can tell you, Sean, I saw it today ahead of the Senate committee hearings on this. I went to go see myself. I went to the grounds. I went to the site because, frankly, I don't trust the FBI and the Secret Service to give us the real story. I want to see it myself. And you are right. That roof, it's hardly pitched at all. It's at a slight slant. And I'll tell you this, Sean, I couldn't believe how close it is to where Trump was. I stood right where Trump stood, looked over at that building. I mean, it is 100, 150 yards max. It is a clear line of sight from where President Trump was to that building. And the whistleblowers, Sean, what they have told me is unbelievable. It's that they were not patrolling the perimeter with canines as they were supposed to do. They were not patrolling the crowd. They weren't adequately keeping the area around.
Wow, look at that. Let me see if I can back that up a little bit. Wow. Okay, so I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Is this someone reenacting on top of the roof? I don't think this was actually the shooter. But yeah, that's basically a flat roof. I mean, it's got a little bit of a pitch. Maybe a 2. But yeah, that's clearly seen. That's very interesting. I think these Senate hearings, I think they're going to uncover a lot more. The fact that they're getting out there on the ground and doing some due diligence, that is, I would assume that's uncommon. That lets me know that they're really irritated about the situation. I think everyone's fed up with it. There's a point you can push people to believe something, and then there's a point where someone's going to tell you you're full of what. And I think that we're at that point where, and it's sad because I never, when I was in the military, I never questioned my orders. I never questioned the validity of the threat or whatever was perceived to be the threat. Now we're at a day and time where things are getting so manipulated, you just don't know. This is very interesting. Let's get into it.
Supposed to do. They were not patrolling the crowd. They weren't adequately keeping the area around the stage safe. And of course, we know that they didn't have eyes on that roof and that building. It's unbelievable.
It really is. Tell us what these whistleblowers are telling you that is most alarming to you.
Well, one thing is that most of the detail assigned to Trump that day and to that rally were not Secret Service, that most of them were from other federal agencies, including Homeland Security. And Sean, they weren't prepared. They didn't know what the procedures were. They did not have the site locked down. They were not adequately patrolling the perimeter.
See, that's a problem. I'll just say right now, it's not a presidential candidate. It's not only a presidential candidate that's having a rally to become the next president. It is a former president. The Secret Service needs to be with this man everywhere. It should not be the majority of outside entities with a couple of Secret Service agents. It should be Secret Service involved with everything. So that is a little bit disappointing. I wonder if they're blaming that on just not having the manpower. I would like to know more about that. Who makes the decisions on how they break that up? That would be very interesting to find out, because it sounds like I don't think it was Secret Service in general that didn't have the correct SOPs involved. I think that this is more telling in that there's a lot of entities trying to understand things, and they probably shouldn't have to. It probably should just be as simple as, you know what, police, state forces, Homeland Security, you all will kind of man this section with the help of Secret Service. Just in general, if we're in an area that is unfamiliar for us, we never want to lets an entity run something without having oversight. And I feel like how they're breaking this up, even if they had the majority of other entities involved, Secret Service should have been the head of each one of those individual entities, if that makes sense. Like if you have state police helping you, okay, there's someone in Secret Service that is now the head of this state section, and they're the ones that are coordinating all the processes so everyone knows what's going on, as opposed to just allowing them to kind of take this area, which it sounds like they didn't do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. Let me know in the comments if you understand what I'm trying to say.
As you just said a moment ago, they were leaving huge gaps. Whistleblowers also tell us that they were allowing people to come into the grounds who weren't checked. They weren't monitoring who was getting up around the stage. I mean, it's unbelievable, Sean. And having been there today myself, I can tell you, it is so close. That building where the shooter fired from is so close to where Trump was. The idea that you could have all of this time elapse and nobody notices, no law enforcement notices he's on the roof. One other thing, Sean, whistleblowers tell me that law enforcement were actually on different channels, different radio communication channels. There were multiple different channels and they weren't coordinated. Sean, it's a total disaster. Somebody needs to resign for this.
Well, the Secret Service director needs to be fired. But they knew there was a suspect. The guy had a rangefinder, for crying out loud. Who carries around a rangefinder with them? How stupid is this director? Well, we didn't want to put the...
He's rough. I'll say he's rough. I won't go that far because I don't know this individual, the director of Secret Service. There are definitely some flaws. And I mean, this has miscommunication written all over it. The fact that they had different channels of communication... It's I'm trying to figure out because I don't know their SOPs, so it's really hard because, on a mission, you're going to have different channels depending on how large the entity is. You'll have a command channel, of course, that will go directly to the command center, the FOB. You'll have a platoon channel. You'll have a company channel. It just depends on how big the mission is, what you guys are trying to accomplish. You don't want to spread a lot of unnecessary chatter on, I guess, the main channel, which would be only for this type of situation. So there's a threat that goes on main channel. Whoever the headquarters, whoever needs to be involved, they need to hear that. If you're walking around and you're asking about certain things, maybe that doesn't go on that designated channel. So I don't, it's hard as a civilian. You're thinking about different channels. Wow. So they're not even talking to each other. It really depends on the SOPs and how they had it set up with what is designated for what channel, what type of information is designated for what channel. So we can clear the lines. That way we know if this channel is lit up, it is because of X, Y, and Z. Where it gets tricky is that everyone needs to be monitoring that main channel. You don't have to monitor all the additional channels, but you have to monitor the main channel. So if something comes through directly to it, now all of a sudden, okay, shut everything else off. Let's focus on what's being said here. And let's communicate about this particular subject on this channel to make sure we neutralize the threat. That's a lot of words, and I'm an infantry guy, so I'm trying to really kind of see how I can articulate it so where the normal civilian would understand what I'm trying to say. And I'm probably not doing a good job, but I hope that you understand, like, different channels is not necessarily a bad thing. It's what's communicated, and then it's the monitoring of the specific designated channel for all activities that everyone should be listening to, in addition to whatever side channels they have for the outside chatter. It's kind of why police officers, I'm assuming they have a channel that goes directly to the dispatchers, and then I'm assuming that they have different channels that they can go and speak directly towards other people. Just kind of put that in context. If you guys understand what I'm saying, put it in the comments.
The officers at risk, so we put them inside the building, but not outside the perimeter of the building to make sure nobody got on top of the roof of the building. And why you're telling me that it was mostly not Secret Service? And why are they blaming, again, local police? That's not their job. It's the job of the Secret Service. They don't.
That's the wrong angle. Saying that the local police were the problem, that's the wrong angle. And I will tell you, the director of the Secret Service, if that's her explanation, I don't think that she's going to last with that. That's not enough accountability. That's too easy to pass off, and it's too big of a mistake. So I agree wholeheartedly.
Don't have enough resources. Well, maybe we could take some money back from Ukraine and apply it to the Secret Service and protect every elected official.
And I tell you what, Sean, what local authorities told me here today, I talked to local law enforcement, and what they told me is they are angry that they're getting unfairly blamed. What they told me is, well, listen, we did our job. We did what we were asked to do. The Secret Service wasn't prepared. They didn't give them clear instructions. Locals are saying, don't roll this over onto us. You should take some responsibility, Secret Service, and they should. And your point about Ukraine is right. We can spend how many billions on Ukraine, but we can't protect an American president? I mean, what's going on around here? We've got to get the facts, Sean. And I tell you what, I won't rest until we get them.
No, I appreciate all of that. By the way, where are your fellow Democrats? Their silence is deafening to me. Why aren't they more outraged over this?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't get it at all. But I tell you one thing. Today, Sean, when I went to the site, the FBI has got more security on that site now than they did the night that Trump was shot at. I mean, the FBI, totally late. And they're trying to control the information. Sean, they tried to kick me off of the site. They said, get out of here. You shouldn't be on the site. We don't want you here.
Get out of here?
They are trying to control the information. Absolutely. They brought local cops, Sean. Get this. I'm there on site. I had permission from the local security operator to be there. And the FBI came out and said, you have got to leave. We do not want you here. That's what they're trying to do.
From the FBI director. I want to hear from the Secret Service director. I want to hear from Mayorkas, Department of Homeland Security Secretary. I want to hear from other Democrats. I don't want any politician to get shot like this. And I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, liberal, conservative. It is meaningless. Protect elected officials.
Wow, I agree. I thought they did a good job just explaining a little bit more detail. The fact that a senator is going out there and getting on boots on the ground and really trying to find out, I think that that's the first step. Man, this is the first step, I think, of a long investigation that's going to uncover some big things. I don't know if all the findings are going to come out before the election. I think that's going to be done on purpose. I think after the election, I think we're really going to deep dive and find a lot of information out. And I think a lot of heads are going to roll. And you know what? Maybe rightfully so. Again, this is Infantry-Mindset, where we don't make excuses. We just do it. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Consider subscribing, liking, sharing. Consider leaving me a comment. I appreciate y'all. If you want to watch any other my other videos, they're up in the corner. Thank you. God bless. Have a good day.